This is CVGs head-to-head, where we compare the PlayStation 4 against the Xbox One. Yesterday, we compared the DualShock 4 controller and the Xbox One controller. What are we doing today?
Games and services.
Games and
for both
services.
consoles.
Yeah, and so we've both played launch games, and I guess one thing we can agree on.
Yeah, the launch games are, I think, yeah, they're not very good, or they're mediocre. They're inoffensive, is what they are.
Yeah, I think there's a reality here that where, like, if developers are building for new hardware, you know, they're moving targets, and they're never gonna nail it, are they? They're never gonna do a Nintendo and release.
Surprisingly,
like
it's in a lot of the cases the third-party games that are also on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4 that seem to be more interesting and performing better, like Assassin's Creed and Need for Speed and that kind of thing. So yeah.
You're saying they perform better on the PlayStation 4?
Both consoles, like, as in terms of technically maybe the PlayStation 4 does have it on that side, but in terms of just
well, let's talk about that, right? I know the internet goes mental for 1080p versus 720p.
Yeah.
I want to know, how much do you actually care? That
personally, I don't care. But I realise there are people that spend £500 on a console. The last thing they want to see is to go online and see some kid behind his computer telling them that their purchasing decision is inferior. At the end of the day, a month, 2 months, maybe it's going to be 4 months from now, no one's going to care. Rise looks amazing. Can you tell what P that is in? I can't. It could be 2 million P for all I know, or it could be like it's probably 1080p. It might be 900p. Like, it looks amazing to me.
The PlayStation 4 has more powerful hardware that's more accessible to get to, but that doesn't mean that developers won't be able to catch up. Developers are going to know more and more about the Xbox One as time goes on, and as time goes on, like with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, the differences will get smaller and smaller and smaller, right. I would say, apart from with the first party stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen, and one thing I imagine you will want to point out is Forza 5.
Forza 5 looks incredible.
Probably the best looking game of the lot. I mean, all of the games, so PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, a lot of people have said Killzone is probably the best, but I know you don't agree for a fact.
Now, I actually have had people say this directly to me, that Killzone Shadowfall looks really good. And I've got to say, first of all, Guerrilla Games, I don't think they've ever designed human beings before. They've just designed people in masks, basically. And this is definitely, you can tell it's a first attempt at designing humans. Like, the facial animation and just the fidelity is odd and poor. It's a bit uncanny. You can see really strange. Their faces look strange, basically.
Yeah.
And I know people saying, "Oh, it's really beautiful." It's not. I'm sorry, but like, the visual design is unambitious. There's loads of polygons, but there's architecturally, I haven't really been that impressed with how it looks. I think what it is, personally, I think it's a high end. I mean, it's just about a next-gen game. It's a very, very high-end last-gen game in terms of visuals, with, I suppose, a few extra polygons. But what they are actually doing is they're throwing light at you, like,
and it does look nice, and it's impressive.
Oh, no, but it's a shortcut. It's like when Ridley Scott was doing Blade Runner. He realised he had a really small budget, and the set looked crap. Dark. He went, turn off the lights. Turn off the lights, and suddenly it looks really good. It's the same thing.
I think a lot of the visual effects and the technical stuff that we're seeing early on in the cycle is going to be stuff that developers are kind of showing that we can do this now. Like, this is we can have lighting this good. It might not look all that good, but we can do this now.
They've been desperate for those parts.
There's a moment in Forza. There's a moment in Forza where you're racing around a track, Top Gear track, and they're like, you're going to be racing around the streets of London and this and that. You're going to have all these, iconic London things, and all it's doing is it throws loads of wheelie bins at you, your garbage bins. But that is only. It looks awful. And it's annoying as hell, but that is only there because Turn 10 wanted to say, look how much crap we can put on the screen at once, it reacts well.
Yeah.
So I guess
these developers have been constrained for 7 years to hardware, like really antiquated hardware.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the Xbox 360 has 512 meg of RAM, doesn't it?
I think on the flip side, Rise, for all its problems, looks incredible. The humans look, I don't want to say real, they'll never look as real as we see them, but they look really, really good. It's a stunning game, which is what you expect from Crytek. You know, those are the guys that do Crysis and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the games are kind of from a gameplay perspective, they leave you wanting for more. But they look kind of nice, they're cool. But I think where the two consoles really distinguish themselves is in the features and the services that you get from them. I think the Xbox One, out of the two, there's a lot of shared apps and that kind of thing. Like both have Netflix, both have iPlayer or whatever it is.
Does Xbox One have the iPlayer? I know the PlayStation. I was using iPlayer on the PlayStation 4 last night.
I believe it does. I know it's got 4OD for sure. I think it has iPlayer. I don't use iPlayer that much, but I've seen a bunch of different apps.
Right. I mean, eventually they'll all have the same apps. Apart
I assume.
I guess right now, though, I mean, the focus of, I think when you talk about services and you talk about PlayStation, the main one is PlayStation Plus. And I signed up for PlayStation Plus as soon as I got my PlayStation 4, and I was able to download 2 games on my PS4. Resogun, which is really, really good. Like, it's probably the best PlayStation 4 game. And the other one, which is called...
I don't know, it's your...
damn it.
It's called Forgettable Game, apparently.
No, it was last minute thing. It was going to be Drive Club.
It's Contrast.
It's called Contrast.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. But there's also 4 games I can download on my PS Vita as well. I mean, in terms of value for money, like the PlayStation Plus is making that Games for Gold service. It's just making an embarrassment of it, really.
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty much indefensible at this point. But what I will say is, Microsoft have just cottoned on to the fact that they need to be doing this. They're in a position where, and they realize so late into their Xbox 360 cycle, it's like, I think. Personally, I believe they might be just saving all the good stuff for later. I'm hoping that they're like, you know what, we've spent a lot of time, you know, with no point spending that much time on, you know, giving all this stuff away. We'll just focus on the future, and hopefully we'll get more stuff on Xbox Live Games for Gold. That's the hope. But I think that in terms of services, where the Xbox One distinguishes itself is how it's all integrated into the console.
I don't think that distinguishes itself from the 360, let alone the PS4.
I think it does from the
How
PS4.
Is it I mean,
I've navigated.
on the
I'm
UI.
talking about as in like the fact that I can navigate every part of that console using only my voice, and it works.
So,
really
I mean,
well.
I can navigate. I've got the PlayStation camera, and I think it's really underrated or not talked about as much as it should be, because you can navigate games and different elements of the PlayStation UI.
I don't know about that. The fact that there's developers out there who are saying we've developed an information packet to make that thing better is proof that.
Yeah, but also I've heard stories of people where they're listening to music and someone says the word off in a song and the PlayStation turns off. In fact, that was a journalist for Polygon that said that the other day. I don't think that's an isolated issue.
The PlayStation turns off when you say off?
No, the Xbox One did.
Oh, okay.
You're not nodding anymore.
No, you literally just said that.
Oh, sorry, my error. Yeah, so, but I think when it comes to services, I think quite obviously Sony have a lot more to offer at much better value as well.
Fine. I personally think that the way the whole suite is better integrated in Xbox One. I think that's where my value is for it there.
Okay, so same thing again. We're going to put a poll underneath this video. If you think Tamoor's right, vote for him. If you think I'm right, vote for me, and we will catch up on the results and speak to you next time.